Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have my full review of the Spartan Harsey Folder 3.25 inch. As the name would indicate, this is a smaller version of the regular Harsey. The Harsey's a 4-inch blade. This is a 3¼ inch blade. It is quite a bit smaller than the regular Harsey. I was kind of surprised by that, but for reasons we'll get into. It works. They didn't just make it smaller. They also made a lot of other little changes to it. You're looking at $390 for this, just to get it out of the way. This is a pretty expensive knife. They have gone to S45VN steel. You can get them not only for Spartan, but from their website. We'll talk about the availability here in just a moment, but also there is going to be a little tease at the end of this video. I do want to say that to what is going to be one of the prizes in my 20,000 sub giveaway. Do not ask me how to enter in the comments. You'll find out on the date that I say at the end of the video. That is when I'll explain of how to enter, but we have some pretty crazy prizes. I'm going to tease one of them at the end of this video. Best way to find out is subscribe, hit that bell button, all that stuff. But anyway, back to this knife. Yeah, when I opened it, I was pretty surprised at how much smaller it was than the regular Harsey. I just kind of thought they were just going to shrink it down a little bit, make it a bit shorter. I love the Harsey. I thought that would have been cool. And it's S45VN now, that all their knives are S45VN now. So I thought, oh, it would just be better steel, a little smaller. But you can see it is, this is a full-size Harsey, one of the older S35VN ones. And you can see it is, it's a lot smaller. And a lot of other smaller changes to it made too, as we'll go on. Yeah, it is dramatically smaller. I was not expecting that, but still like it, still working with it. I kind of thought it was gonna be just a little bit smaller, and I would probably honestly make a choice between the two, which one that I kept. But these are so dramatically different in size that I can actually see a reason to have them both, and maybe even carry them both at the same time. I have not yet, but we'll see. But yeah, this is my full review. Had this for quite a while now. Been in my pocket lots of days. Had it for a couple, 3 weeks now or something like that. So I got a chance to spend some time with it. So let's get going with some specs and some size comparisons, as we always do. As the name indicates, 3.25 inch blade. Overall length, just a hair over 7 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.125 inches, handle thickness of 0.42 inches, and a weight of 2.94 ounces, which for a full titanium frame lock with a 3¼ inch blade, that ain't too bad. I do have to say the weight on it is pretty impressive. Size comparisons, we'll start out with some of our usuals. We have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Line up the pivots here, and the Para 3. You can see it's even just a little bit shorter than a Para 3. And your usual Benchmades. We have your full-size Griptilian and the full-size Bug Out, also a 3¼ inch blade. Yeah, very similar in overall size to a Bug Out, maybe just a little bit smaller. And now we'll compare it to a couple of Spartans. I already showed the Harsey, but we'll do it again. And then I have Palace here as well. We'll start with the Palace. Big old button lock folder. And again, the full-size Harsey. So you can see these are much larger. This is definitely one of the smallest knives that Spartan's ever made, if not the smallest knife they've ever made. And then two knives that I know you guys wanted to compare it to. I actually put a picture of this on Instagram because so many people asked for it. How does it compare to the Chris Reeve Small Sabenza? Now, this is a 31. This is one of the fancy pants ones, but it's the same exact size. And the small Inkosi. Because price-wise, they're not too far off. A lot of ways, they're not too far off. This is a Knife Art Carbon small Inkosi with the Insingo blade. But yeah, you can see it's really, really close in size to the small Spenza 31. A little bit more blade, but overall, very, very close in size. And quite a bit bigger than a small Inkosi. I'm holding this one up because it is insolent and does not like to stand proper. But yeah, those are your size comparisons. You can see it's a much, I mean, it's a great niche to hit. They got Chris Reeves sells a whole ton of small Sabenzas, so it makes sense to try and kind of hit that size. Now, legality-wise, that blade is over 3 inches, but, under 3.5, so it depends on, your area. Maybe it would have been a little bit better to have it exactly 3 inches, but I don't know. The overall size and stuff works. I think they were much more concerned about size and ergonomics than they were about hitting a specific, legality point. The blade on this thing, the things we'll get into the individual parts of this knife now. The blade on S45VN, as I said, they've moved up to that. I found it to be, I guess about 10 better than S35VN. I don't mean to simplify it like that, but yes, it is a little bit better than S35. Is it a huge night and day, world-changing difference? It doesn't seem to be for me. This is now the third or fourth knife I've had with S35VN on it, and S45VN on it, and I've tried to use them as much as I can. And I'm not a hardcore analytical data tester, never claimed to be, but it does seem to be just as easy to sharpen as S35VN, but holds an edge a little bit longer. Again, not a night and day kind of situation. As far as like chippiness and stuff that goes, I can't really tell a difference. But it seems to be a really good steel, and I'm glad that they made the swap. I'm glad to see it coming out. It's about 22 thousandths behind the edge, and again, pretty thin blade stock. It's a really good slicer. It's actually pretty excellent. Yeah, the thickness behind the edge is not thin by, the standards that have gone crazy in the last few years. A lot of, like your Savibis and your Wiis and stuff, are 13, 14 thousandths behind the edge and are a little bit slicier. So by those standards, it's not the best slicer in the world, but it's pretty darn good. They all are hand sharpened. These are all hand built in the USA by great guys down there and certified badasses. And they do a really good job of sharpening them up. And I do like that it's a thin blade stock, but that's a tough thin blade stock. I mean, look at the tip on that thing. You could actually do some crap with this thing. Even though it's a smaller knife, it's definitely, for its size, pretty hardcore, which I do like. One thing I don't like is there's absolutely no sharpening choil. That's a bit annoying. I do wish I had one. I'm sure a lot of people will add them on themselves, but I do wish I had a sharpening choil. You can see they stop well short there. That's a bit annoying, but pretty darn good blade on it for sure. Ergonomically, it's really good, and this is the thing. I actually just talked to Curtis at Spartan today, and they did make a lot of changes ergonomically just to bring out the full size again. This is where you can kind of see that it's not just a shrunken large Harsey. It has a lot of the same design cues, as far as this, they has the finger cutouts, which they still work pretty well on this, but to make those work right, you can see they changed a little bit around here. They changed a lot in the butt of the handle. So this is not just a shrunken down Harsey. They did make an actual effort, to make it more comfortable in the smaller size, and it works. It is a very comfortable knife in hand. There is no hot spot from the pocket clip. We'll talk more about that when we get to the carry. No real hot spots except for that one thing that I don't like on this compared to the full size is the jimping is just a bit more harsh, quite a bit more harsh. The jimping is a little sharp. Doesn't bother me down here, but up here it is a bit more harsh. Granted, you want to be locked in. Oh, you're locked in. You ain't going nowhere, but you kind of have to move back on it. I almost just would have deleted that jimping full stop, or at least made it not as harsh as it is. That's really the only ergonomic complaint I have. Again, the pocket clip is really difficult to do on smaller knives. I've noticed that more and more. Like on larger knives, it's pretty easy to get the pocket clip placement right. On smaller knives, it's really hard, especially for guys like me that have somewhat big hands. A lot of times, if you try and put a deep carry clip on something like that, when you go to bear down on it, the loop over of that clip is just digging right into your palm, which ain't all sunshine and rainbows. So I get I think they did a really good job ergonomically with placing that pocket clip for sure. And it is a smaller pocket clip than the full size. We're going to blend into the carry now. But yeah, you can see this is the pocket clip on the full size. They made a whole new pocket clip. A lot of companies don't bother with that when they make a knife smaller. I think it's cool they did their own specific smaller pocket clip for this. I think that's a great idea. And it definitely does work ergonomically for sure. As far as the carry goes, though, you guys know one of my biggest pet peeves is knives that sit too high in the pocket, and this does push the boundaries of that. You can see there's a whole lot of knife sticking out there. The pocket clip tension is great. This thing ain't coming out of your pocket. I don't mean to give any indications of that. It's not like it's going to go flying out, but I just wish that it was a bit deeper. But honestly, I look at the design and I don't know where they could have moved it to make it better without making it a loop over. And then again, I said with the loop over, I think it would dig into my palm. So I think this was the best solution for this knife design. And I think moving the pocket clip would have sacrificed some ergonomics. So as much as I really, really want to hate on that, and I am going to mention it as a negative about the knife, I kind of get it. I don't know what I could have done better. Probably a lot of things I couldn't have done better on this because I'm not a knife designer. But as far as reaching your hand past it, it's very, very comfortable. That jimping doesn't really bother you. I was worried about that because that jimping's so sharp. I really thought, oh, I'm going to be digging my hands up going by it. But it really doesn't. It's a very slim knife. The weight is excellent. And other than the fact that it just sticks out of your pocket a whole lot, it carries very, very well. No complaints there. As far as the action goes, these are not, fidgety knives. Most Spartans aren't, except the Palace, of course, is a fidget machine with that button lock. But this one isn't quite. It's running on phosphor bronze washers. It's not drop shutty. This is pretty well broken in, but not as well as my full size. But it's very smooth. It's a very smooth feeling. Again, to bring up the Chris Reeve again, it has that kind of, Sebenza feel that everybody talks about. It really has that same kind of, oil on glass sort of feel, or glass on glass, whatever you want to call it, feel that a Sebenza does. They do a very good job of that, and not going to knock it at all. The only thing I wish that it had, that the full size has, is, I'm going to fail it on camera here because I just said I'm going to bring it up on camera, so that means I'm going to fail it. The way the jimping comes up and the way that the blade is shaped, you can front flip a full size. I did it. Yay. Yay me. Almost threw it across the room, but I did it. But you can front flip a full size. Do I do it very often? No, I don't. But it's nice to know that I can. Gives it a little bit of extra fidget factor. This one, for some reason, they chose not. They angled the jimping a bit different there so that you can't get a hold of it, and you can't front flip it, which would have been cool. Pointless, but cool. So, excuse me. What are my conclusions about this knife? It is not inexpensive, but I think in its market comparisons, I'm sure I'm going to get a chorus if it's too expensive, because man, I'm getting a lot of those lately. You compare it to, your Chris Reeves, it's cheaper than those, and they're S35 VN, supposedly they're S45 VN eventually. I think they're just as well made, at least really close. Maybe not just as well. There's maybe a few little tolerance things you can notice on a Chris Reeve that are a little bit better, but this is definitely in the conversation to being as well made. I think it's more visually compelling. All you have is that little Spartan logo on the filler tab on the other side. It is right left-hand carry, by the way, which you don't get with a CRK. And it's just, all it has is just S45 VM marking and William Harsey's signature, and looks wise too. They changed. They don't have the printed stuff anymore. I love the etching. This looks fantastic. I really like the way that their logo and stuff is presented and the USA is presented. That used to really bother me on some of their knives. It does not bother me. I will not complain. As long as they keep doing all their knives like this, I will not complain about it anymore. That looks cool. I think it's a great looking knife. I think it's handmade in the US by two certified special forces kind of guys, badasses, and it's a great company to support. I think the price is okay. I have no complaints with that. when you compare it to other stuff. Obviously, you can still get knives in this size range for a lot cheaper, and I know that, so save the comments. But if you want something built like this, made in the U.S., I think it's a good value and a great knife to buy. I highly recommend it. And one of you ain't gonna have to pay for one. So yes, you probably guessed. In my 20,000 sub giveaway, giving away one of these. All you gotta, when the winner wins it, I'm never even gonna touch it. You're just gonna send me your address and they're gonna send you one. And don't worry about availability, because I know people always talk about availability on these things. Oh, you can never get one. Yeah, they're always making them. It's just they pop up and they go away, and they pop up and they go away. But it's not one of these that comes up and goes away for a year. And they already know they're setting one aside for one of you guys. So yes, I'm going to announce my 20,000 sub giveaway on November 1st. And in that video, I will explain how to enter. So subscribe, hit the notifications button so that you get told when that video comes up. And then you're going to have 11 days to do what I say to enter. You're going to have 11 days to enter. Again, I'm not telling you exactly how yet, because I don't want people doing it in the wrong video. So you have 11 days. The reason why November 11th is my 3-year anniversary on YouTube. So that's why I'm going to do the actual giveaway. I know it's Veterans Day, but that's the day that I'm actually going to do a live video with the drawing, which you don't have to be present to enter, so don't worry about that. If you're doing something cool for Veterans Day or whatever, hang out with your family, don't worry. You don't have to sit and watch the internet. But yeah, this is one of 3 prizes, is a Spartan Harsey Folder 3.25 inch, and monetarily it ain't the biggest one. So monetarily, I think it's actually the smallest one. We're giving away 2 knives. Not going to announce the other one yet. 2 knives, both of which in this kind of price range, and then a very large gift certificate to a knife retailer that you can probably guess. So keep an eye out for that November 1st. Just wanted to sneak that in a video somewhere. I called Curtis and I said, hey, I know you guys said we're getting a knife. I'm doing a review of this one tonight. Can we just say it's a 3.25? And he said, yep, let's do that. So that's what it is. So now you know that. I teased it a little bit in a live video because I assumed that's what it was going to be, but that is the one they want to give away because it's their newest model. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Hope you guys watched to the end to get excited about it. Look for that video November 1st explaining how to enter. I've been Brian. Have a good one.